Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon, good evening, good morning from wherever it is you're watching from. And welcome to today's episode on mental health awareness for children. Today, we have an amazing guest in the house. We'll be talking about mindfulness. We'll be talking about what it is. We'll be talking about its importance and how it affects children and how children can engage in mindfulness activities and how important it is to their development. So we're not going to waste too much time dilly dallying. We're just going to go right into it. So please, as you come on, feel free to give us a quick hello. Give us, tell us your name, tell us where you're watching from, or tell us where you're joining us from. And if you are a parent with a child in his or her early childhood ages, and you're just a lover of early childhood and early years development, and you have not yet joined the early years Heartland tribe, what are you waiting for? So please go on, click the link, and join us right away. Okay, so, well, without saying too much, I'm just going to bring our guest on, and she is going to blow us away with mindfulness tips and things we can do to get our children into mindfulness. Or why do we really need to, what is mindfulness? Let's start from there. What is mindfulness, and why do we really need to engage in mindfulness activities? So our guest today, Kay Trevorrow Young, is an early childhood educator. She's a Montessori directress. She's been in this field for years, and she is a mindfulness and yoga coach. So you can imagine, like, we have a double combo guest here with us today. So Kay, I'm gonna just bring her in. It's Hi Kay.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello and welcome to Early Years Heartland. Welcome to today's episode and today's series. It's a pleasure, it's a privilege to have you here, really. And I appreciate the fact that you can take out time from your busy schedule to make it here with us today. So thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome. I'm very excited to be here today to share
Yeah,
some of my passion with the community out there. So thank you for inviting me.
sure,
So,
you're
as,
welcome.
as you said, my name's Kay and I live in Abu Dhabi, here with my family, and I'm a proud mother of a teenager. So lots of mindfulness definitely needed in that category.
Well,
But
I'm
we'll
not
come
there
back
yet, but
to that.
soon.
Yeah, we'll come back to that later.
Okay.
So yeah, I work closely with children, parents, practitioners, all with a goal to nurture our children mentally and physically into great well-being. Um, I like to really look at it as a child, as a child developer, nurturing all aspects of our children's growth and development. So I came into mindfulness actually without realizing what it was to start with many years
Mm.
ago when I started my Montessori journey, in fact. And what an amazing, inspiring woman Marie Montessori, an insightful person she was of her day, and it continues to thrive, as we know, many beautiful Montessorians around. So, whilst I was in the Montessori environment, one of the wonderful things about Montessori is that we give our children time and place. We slow down our busy schedules of our day and we nurture our children's mind and body. Children in Montessori environments have got a beautiful environment to explore. There's peacefulness for them to experience. There's time for them to think and revisit and self-regulate and to challenge themselves. giving children the time and space, I think, is so beneficial. As we know, we all live very busy lives now, and children spend a lot of time being moved around. We fill space with noise, devices, and children don't always get the same amount of downtime as they really do need. You know, some people think, oh, you know, we can't leave them to do nothing, they'll get bored. Well, children won't get bored. They'll look and find.
Yeah.
Children are curious beings, and we all know that.
Yeah.
So really, for myself, working in a Montessori setting also here in Abu Dhabi, Global Montessori, you know, we're really proud to, for the last couple of years, been able to offer yoga, as you mentioned, and mindfulness together. I really look forward to now being able to sort of share some ideas with you for you to take home, for you to have in your daily life. But what I really want to emphasize as well, and it was mentioned yesterday, it starts with us, as the adult, as the parent, as the teacher that comes in contact with the children. We have got to nurture ourselves. We have got to care for our mind and our body. And then we can then obviously share our skills and our knowledge and support our children on that road. So it's a journey that we need to share together with our children.
Yeah.
So we need to look at, you know, how to equip our child, how to give them techniques and skills in the mindfulness approach to help them cope with the everyday busy life that they've got. Really, mindfulness helps children and adults, as I said, be present in the moment. Just stop thinking about what happened this morning. Stop thinking about what you might have for dinner or supper. Just be in the moment. Now, I'm not saying that we need, you know, we can't stop thinking clearly, right?
Yeah, because I was.
You know, and we want our children to be curious and investigate and thinkers. Of course, we want that. But what we want to help them do also is put things in order, to bring calm to their thoughts. Instead of our children being anxious and stressful with all the business that may be going on in their lives, let's help them figure out how to slow things down. And one of my favorite methods for mindfulness for young children, and has been working and works superbly well, is using our breath, the mindful breath. Slowing the child's thoughts down, focusing themselves on their breath, feeling their breath, sensing the experience. I mean, we could just do a simple little breathing activity now together, if you'd like to join me. So, you can keep your eyes open or you can close your eyes, up to you. And again, this is the language you would use with your children. And there's
okay, so are we, like, we're actually going to go on a mindfulness exercise right now, like here and now?
Yeah, we'll just do a really simple one, which I'll give you a few examples that you can take away as well.
That's quite interesting. Like, it's that simple. We can just do it like here and now. Like,
share it with you right now.
Oh, that's interesting, because honestly, that's one of the questions I have to ask: when and where mindfulness, how, you know? And it's interesting. Okay, so
oh, well, that's right.
Let's do it. Do I need to be in any position or anything?
Just feel where you are. Feel that you're sitting comfortably. You feel the chair underneath, maybe your feet placed on the floor, your hands comfortably on your lap or table, wherever you are comfortable. You don't have to be in a monastery or in a very special place to do mindfulness. Mindfulness is a gift we can have with us wherever we are, which I hope I can shine a bit of light on that later. So with our children, we would do something similar. Find a comfortable place with them, get them to start being more aware of themselves, their breath, bring their attention to their breath going in and going out. They can place their hand on their chest and feel their breath, their chest moving if they wish. We don't want to force the breath. We want our breath to be soft and natural. So soft going in through our nose and soft coming out through our mouth. And then how you can get it more child-friendly is, everyone knows their children obviously have certain things that they may like. They may like smelling flowers, they may like blowing bubbles with the bubble maker, they might like drinking hot chocolate. There's so many different things you might do. You might like blowing birthday candles out. So we're just going to do, let's pretend we're going to have some hot chocolate. So we say, let's imagine we've got some hot chocolate and it's a bit too hot for us to drink, so we need to cool it down with some soft, mindful breaths. And that's how you create their focus. So then they can start their breath in and we can count with them, we can give them prompts and clues, how many breaths, and we can slow their breath. And by slowing their breath down and giving them these little new knowledge to how to manage their behaviour in a difficult situation, then they can call on their breath to help them calm down. So if they're feeling a little bit anxious, we can call on our breath to help us organise that anxiety, organise our feelings and emotions, organise our thoughts. As we know right now, we're going into a very different landscape when we enter our schools. Many of the nurseries where I live in Abu Dhabi are starting to go back. As practitioners, you know, it's challenging for us. We don't know what to expect when these children come back. You know, it's times that we as practitioners need to make sure we are anxious, we are not nervous, we need to connect and check on ourselves, make sure we're ready to give the best to these children as well. So those children that are coming back into some settings, again, they've been away for 7 months. So it's a long time to be in the home. You know, away again from the social connections that they're used to. So those things will be coming back to them as well, like, you know, sharing. They might have been at home on their own all this time.
All the time,
to have this, whatever they want, when they want. You know, their parents obviously have been loving and nurturing them in their home. And now they have to come back to a room full of other children. And as I said, in a very different landscape. It's very unusual and a little bit scary maybe for them. And we've got to make sure we can help them adjust and feel safe and reassured. And through some activities we can place in our environment will help our children as well. So I know in a Montessori environment, from years of experience in classrooms that I've helped prepare and organise, we do set up a peaceful area so children can take themselves to that area and have some mindful moments. In that area, it kind of looks a little bit like natural. I use nature a lot in my practices. I love bringing children back to nature and having nature inside the classroom. So they've got that beautiful connection with the outdoors and nature. So in my treasure basket, I may have some shells or pine cones, depending on where you're living, what's available to you, for children to feel and touch and use their sensory stimulation to enjoy that material, but also to calm them down, to have that moment of peace and calm. On that table, there may also be a sand timer, which I've found very successful. And the children turn the sand timer and enjoy watching the sand and calming their body in that mindful moment. Now, obviously, it doesn't happen overnight. You know, there's lots of support and nurturing through our wellbeing program. And that's become very important now, as I'm sure many of the parents and practitioners would agree, on how important, you know, we need to look and nurture our children's their mind during this period of time with all the stresses and changes that have been happening in the home. So making sure that the classroom is well prepared with things that they can see, emotion cards. So, you know, emotional language. And again, yesterday, the specialist spoke a little bit about, I don't think she called it emotional language. That's what I use. I usually term it as
I think she called
language.
it some cue cards or something, you know, that you could use to define your emotions.
She called it, sorry, she called it feeling vocabulary. That's right.
Yes, feelings vocabulary.
And absolutely, you know, we're absolutely all on the same page with that,
Yeah.
which was super to hear. You know, that science, nurture, nature, everything, you know, we really believe in this mindful method and what we're doing here in the early years for our children. So with the vocabulary and, like you said, the cue cards, the pictures, the posters, it's all building this little bag of tricks for our children to be able to reach into and help them emotionally understand what are they feeling, what are they thinking, what are they going through, and how they can deal with it. And that, you know, one of the things I say a lot, and I use this term all the time, I know the teachers I work with, it's something that I use. I always say, I wonder how you're feeling today, because I see you've got a sad face today. And I love children to be able to understand that I'm sometimes sad too, right? So I will reflect that. They may be sad today because their mummy's left them. This is going to be very common, right? Because our children are coming back to things. And I would then say, I'm sad sometimes too because I miss my mummy. And they're like, and you know, so I'm validating that feeling.
The feeling,
just get rid of those feelings. Mindful's not about that. Mindful isn't about trying to close the mind off and stop thinking. And it's we validate how we feel and we support the child through those feelings with, as I said, real skills, real techniques to help them emotionally move through their daily life as adults as well. So we can function, whether it's at the office, whether it's in the home, whether it's in a classroom. There's challenges all around us, and we all need to be able to check in on ourselves and build that inner strength.
Wow. I'm just I'm just blown away by everything you're saying. As a matter of fact, you have kind of touched down on everything, because I was just going through my list, because I actually jotted down a number of questions, and you have touched down on practically everything I had on this list. And so it's amazing to see how all the aspects of mindfulness is interwoven. So but I'd like us, for my sake, because I'm gonna want to be practicing mindfulness with my children. I have children in the early years at home, and of course I have children who are just who still just on the periphery, so they're still growing up. And I do not think that mindfulness has an age restriction. As a matter of fact, in recent years, I think mindfulness seems to be everywhere. Mindfulness seems to be everywhere, from parenting blogs to doctor recommendations, everywhere, to treatment, wellness treatments in in school, in the elementary schools, in for behavior therapy. You see it everywhere. And I began to wonder, it wasn't like this before. Okay, so why is this so? Why is it just showing up suddenly everywhere? What's the reason for this enthusiasm with mindfulness everywhere you go? What do you think Because before now it was just, basically with adults, and now it's, children and babies. I even see blogs, talk about mindfulness with babies, and
Yeah.
it's everywhere. So what do you think is the reason for this?
I just think we've become more in tune with ourselves, and we are realizing that we have super busy lives, and we need to check in and make sure we can give 100% whenever we can, and we just need to find that place and strength. And now that's not going to always be there, is it, if we don't take care of ourselves?
Yeah.
I mean, meditation obviously has been around for centuries. We know that, and like you said, it's kind of been in the yoga studios or in special environments, and it's kind of trickled down and become, you're right, quite trendy and vogue to have this word mindfulness in our schools and in our environments.
Yeah.
And there's so much out there that's available as well. I mean, TEDx Talks, there's some amazing people out there talking about mindfulness on TEDx. I've got a couple of other people that I can mention later as well, and some mindful cards and some props that I'd like to talk to the people about too. But I just think we are just being more in tune with ourselves. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, is there? I mean, it's only going to benefit our children. It's going to trickle down to our children, It's like at the moment, my son's a teenager, as I mentioned. Now that's an interesting age, especially at the moment with COVID and their exams and their homeschooling and what's going to happen next year with exams, etc., etc. Trying to get children at teenager age to start being mindful and take that time to deal with those emotions, because their brain is just going crazy at the moment, as we know.
I can imagine.
I don't really want to go into much science on that one, but we know what's happening. And for them, it's really important that we as the parent can try and help. We support them in so many other ways. We feed them, we nurture them, we help them sleep, and these things also come underneath mindfulness as well. There's mindful sleeping. What does that mean? Well, we need to help our children get into good routines, so therefore their physical and mental health will be great. So what do? We have a routine in our home. We prepare a routine during our day where we introduce our mindfulness. We have our exercise. Before we go to bed, we might do some mindful breathing to prepare ourselves for good sleep, which then the next day, the benefits will be there. The child will be healthier to perform and have energy all day and be able to focus and feel good. The food, mindful eating. There's so many aspects of mindfulness in our daily life.
Oh, wow. So I just heard you, when you talked earlier on about how mindfulness has helped, us as adults to, be in tune with our bodies, to, reduce, how the anxiety we feel. And it's nice that we can actually weave this into our children. It's nice that we can, bring our children into this routine of mindfulness. I have just started mindfulness activities with my children, like deliberately, but I think that we kind of do mindfulness without even knowing sometimes. When you tell your children to maybe calm down, sit down and let's take a moment to talk about this and to think about how we feel, without even giving it a name to say, okay, this is a mindfulness activity or this is a mindfulness session. I think that some parents out there are probably already doing something, doing mindfulness without even knowing it. But it's important how you mention children being in tune with themselves and being able to manage their feelings and manage their emotions, because I think this is really important. So I had asked earlier about why mindfulness is coming here and now, and and it's important. And you've mentioned how important it is to getting children in tune with their bodies and getting children in tune with how they feel and being able to recognize and address their feelings. So, but how earlier on you also tried to get us into a mindfulness session. How can this be practiced? Is there um how do you introduce this to your child? Is there a particular way you can do mindfulness, or you cannot do mindfulness? Is there a particular place? So who is it for? Where can it be practiced? How can we go about it, on our day-to-day lives, daily lives? So if you
Yeah,
want to
that's
throw a bit of light on that,
yeah, that's important that you said in every daily life, because no
Mm,
one extra burden, right? We're all busy.
mhm.
No one wants to, oh no, we have to do something else now. We've got homework, we've got this, we've got that, we've got running around, whatever. We don't want to have an extra thing. So you're right, it has to incorporate in your daily life. And it's really simple. It's from waking up in the morning when because we're talking about early years at the moment here as well. So when you help your children wake in the morning, we can do a mindful breath wake up, a rainbow breath. Let's wake up, wake up. Let's take our breath. And you can incorporate simple activities during the day, but you can also make time and space and name what you're doing as well. Let's have our mindful moment. Let's sit down, do some mindful breath. Let's do some yoga and mindful breath together. So you can make a special time and place for it as well, not just incorporate in your daily life. When I do my school run, I sit in my car afterwards and I take some mindful breath, organize my thoughts for my day, what I've got to do during the day, and it helps me clear my mind and think about prioritizing what needs to be done. So, you can take your moments where they suit you. It could be at your desk. You could feel overwhelmed at your desk. You just need to take a mindful breath and focus on your breath and try and get clarity into your mind for your day and for your planning for your day. Where it can be done, as I said, it can be done anywhere. I mean, outside in the park, I love when we're outside with our children and we lay down and we look at the clouds and we do some mindful observations, we do some mindful breath, blowing the clouds away. Mindfulness it just makes you so in tune with your surroundings as well, being aware of the birds singing in your garden. Even that, sitting at your breakfast table in the morning, listening, mindful listening. Can you hear the birds in the garden? And it just brings this calmness maybe to your breakfast time, listening to the sounds around you. Or even, when you're out walking, just bringing that beautiful awareness of our wonderful planet and appreciating our planet as well. And I think a part of the mindful practice is about that respect of self, talked about, respect of others, and respect of our planet and our environment where we live. And those things are so crucial. We want our children to be these beautiful global warriors that are going to take on all these, that are going to look after our planet and take care of the next generation and come into that with this capability and confidence and with these techniques and with these strategies and with this thinking, with their thinking mind being with clarity and mindfulness in such a simplicity is helping us do that, is helping us strengthen and build those children's skills for that future, which is very exciting. That's very exciting.
So this is it's interesting that you mentioned mindfulness in its simplicity, because I kind of find that with children, if you don't bring it down to the basics, and you make it too cumbersome, they kind of like are not interested. Okay, so you're bringing it down to simple, to to the basics of, like you see, you mentioned taking a walk, taking a deep breath. I like the example you gave with sipping hot chocolate, and I actually tried it, and it was really interesting. So I just might do that tonight with my children and see. I'm pretty sure they're gonna ask afterwards. They're gonna ask for the hot chocolate. I'm sure, but but fair enough, like getting them into that routine and getting their bodies in getting them in tune with themselves and in tune with their bodies. I think it's really important, because then like we stressed a lot yesterday about understanding and validating your feelings. So I think that mindfulness is that path to which they can easily understand how they feel, validate how they feel, and then that leads them on a path to how do I put this, to actually understand themselves better. So yeah, I think bringing it down to the basics and making it simple for them, particularly children in their early years, is amazing. But then talking about mindful parenting and caregiving, and as an adult or as a parent, as a caregiver, how do you influence the state of mindfulness in your child, in the child you're working with? How is it connected? As an adult working with a child, how do you influence the environment, influence the state of mindfulness of the child? Because I think from everything we've talked about so far, I can see you mention, a parent, an adult, but then how does it then affect that child's state of mindfulness?
Yeah. Stop me if I
Sorry.
correct, but I'll start.
All right,
And then
go ahead.
we're not answering your question, please do.
No, go ahead, please.
So you're saying, so for practitioners delivering mindfulness in a setting, how are you saying, how do they get to that point of confidence to do that? Is that what you're saying?
Well, okay, so that's one part to it. But then how can a child actually perceive that mindfulness around you in such a way that it then affects their state of mindfulness?
Okay. I think, well, obviously language is a big thing, and role modeling obviously is a huge part of practitioners' daily business, working with children, showing respect, getting down to their level, self-directing, encouraging, and making the child feel safe and secure in that environment. Structure and routine in a Montessori classroom, even though we know Montessori is freedom of choice. Obviously, there's been a huge amount of thought in the planning of the environment with the children's learning in mind. Their learning emotionally, their well-being, all those areas are looked at when we're preparing the environment. So those tools are there in the environment for the teacher then to use to then extend her knowledge or his knowledge to the child in that nurturing, mindful way. So mindfulness is a language. It's an exercise. It's an activity. It's a general being. It's a part of your everyday living, and sharing that with the children in the setting. Where I work in the Montessori setting, global, is really easy when you've got a great team that understand what we're trying to achieve. And working as a team and working together, and also you have to look at training and development, as well as obviously we do in-house training and I deliver that, but there's training development that you as an adult or as a parent will look at, because you have to practice mindfulness. It's like anything, you have to practice it, and then you'll become more confident in your practice, in your thinking, in your outlook, in the way that you interact, and that will then obviously feed and nurture whoever is in your environment with you.
In your care. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So from what you've said, you talked about preparation of the environment, and it shows like there's thought into it. So you cannot, you from everything you said, you've talked about having to plan, having to plan the environment, and getting your children together to do a mindfulness activity and all that. There has to be a thought behind it. And so it's interesting that you say that, because it brings me to my next question. I would want to believe that there are elements, or there are foundations, on which mindfulness is hinged. Elements of that cannot be separated. So, for example, when you just mentioned here that there has to be thought into it. So, what other elements, like aspects, operate together to make a mindfulness session, to make it worthwhile? So we put intention into it. We plan for it. So what other elements can we say we put into our mindfulness sessions to make it worthwhile? Let me use that word again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, the overall well-being of the child, right? I mean, mindfulness, we're looking at their mind and their body and their overall wellness, their health, discipline. Both of these are all working in hand, as I think I've mentioned also before, the practical skills as well. Even though you're correct, I mean, I said about prepared environment in an educational setting. You don't need anything also as well. You can do mindfulness just sitting on the grass with a child, and we can just be mindful together. And so you can, as I said, you can do mindfulness anywhere. Things that obviously hinge on the foundations, I think, are the respect of the other person, just that deep inner respect of each other, and the nurturing of that self, of yourself and that other person as well. I think.
So do we particularly? Sorry, did I? What you were saying? Okay, so do we particularly need to have a reason, or have something in mind, we're working towards when we engage in mindfulness? Do we necessarily have, or which we can just go ahead to do mindfulness to engage in it for the fun of it? Or do we necessarily have to have something in mind, that, like, for example, working on my stress reduction or emotional balance or something, or I just do it for the fun of it?
Well, all of that, actually. I mean, you can do your mindfulness, your breathing, and your reflection and your affirmations when you're feeling on top of the world, and celebrate your great health. You can do mindfulness then. But obviously, where we're at the moment with our young children, we're helping them build the skills and the knowledge and how to self-care, self-soothe, self-reflect, and manage their behavior, manage themselves, self-regulate. And that's what mindfulness helps in the young as well. Obviously in the old as well, helps us.
Yeah.
But they're big focuses really in the setting. We're trying to give our children those techniques and skills. So when they want to hit and grab, or they're feeling unhappy, or they're feeling frustrated, we can bring them to a place, using a prop, holding a soft toy, some reflection on what they did. Let's get their focus back into their breath, and then it helps them calm down, and then we can move forward and build on the next steps.
Okay, so I'm just gonna. I think it's I'm trying because there's a lot of information you're giving out, and I'm just also taking notes as we go along. It's
Yeah.
amazing to see the intention here. So when you mentioned working with young children, I gather from what you've said that the intention would be to get children in tune with themselves, to be able to self-regulate, to be able to learn and practice their social skills and just a general knowledge of self and of self-care and all of that for the children. So another thing you also mentioned there is focus. You kind of touched into it briefly. So can you just explain more on the place of focus when it comes to mindfulness? Because you've talked about first talked about intention, and then you've talked about focus, but you just touched it a little bit more. So a little bit. So I'd want you to just expand on that at the place of focus, or if I may use the word attention in mindfulness
Yeah.
for young children.
Yeah, and that's right. And bringing their focus helps them order their mind and calm their minds. So, for example, just
Hmm.
that simple activity we did earlier about um, bringing breath and getting them to focus just on their breath, just to feel their breath going in and out, and bringing that focus into that moment, right here, right now, in that time. Obviously, that, as I said before, thoughts will come and will go. Let's see them go. We can blow them away like bubbles, let them float away like clouds, and then let's bring your focus back to your breath, and let's keep focusing on your breath. And it, children again will practice this. They will take themselves away. I've seen it over the last 2 years. If there's a place, if in the home or in a setting, as I said, we have that in the home, they can take themselves off to a comfortable place, and eventually they will self-soothe themselves. They will focus their own thoughts. They will bring themselves to calm, or just to re-energize themselves as
Hmm.
well during the day. And having I've lost my train of thought now. Yeah, and
Yeah,
having
no,
that. Yeah.
no, really. Well, I haven't lost it. Like I'm actually just connecting to everything you're saying because when you talk about breathing, and earlier on when you talked about what they're feeling, so it's more like paying attention or bringing your focus from what you're experiencing externally to what you're experiencing internally, and I think that's amazing that you say that. I think that is just the beginning of the child being able to come to terms with his or herself and connecting this to mental health. Yesterday our specialist talked a lot about how to get your focus. She talked about how your ability to self-regulate, and so you're talking about those breathing exercises is one way of self-regulation, and I think that's just how it weaves into children's mental health stability. So yeah, I think you've, like I said earlier, you've touched down on basically everything. Sorry, I just got carried away with the conversation. I want to say a welcome and a hello to everyone that is here. My apologies, please. I honestly just got carried away. We have been joined by a number of people in the course of this webinar. We have greetings from our Temi Tokbe. She was here yesterday from the beginning. She was here the whole time. Welcome, Temi Tokbe. It's great to have you here. She's saying greetings from Niger, greetings from Nigeria. That's another way of saying Nigeria. You say Niger. Okay, and we have Iman. Iman is here. Wow, our ever-present Iman. Welcome again to this webinar. It's great to have you here. And we have greetings from Naya Namrata from Early Years Heartland. Welcome, welcome. It's great to have you here. She's sending us her greetings from Dubai. Bless you. Welcome, marhaba. Can I say that? Can I say that? Welcome, 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 welcome. So we also have other people we have Kanchana. I think we both know Kanchana. Kanchana, it's great to have you here. We're so glad you could make it. And we have Esther who is saying hi. And we have Kanchana is saying, lovely job. I missed yesterday's session. I'm glad I could make it here today. And we're glad you could make it today, Kanchana. Thank you so much for being here. So please, let's have your questions come in, everyone. If you have questions, we have Miss Kay, who is a specialist working with young children with mindfulness and yoga. Please send your questions in and we will address them as best we can. All right, so while we're waiting for the questions to come in, you've talked about practical ways that we can introduce mindfulness to our children at home, in a childcare setting, and on the road. So in fact, I actually wrote at home and childcare setting. But from everything you've said, you've talked about on the road, you've talked about just anywhere. Mindfulness can just happen anywhere. Now, how can you just give us practical ways? For example, when you talked about the hot chocolate, can you give us more examples, a couple more ideas and examples that we can introduce mindfulness to our children? I wish we could have a number to call in. We might just have that for tomorrow's session, so people can call in and ask their questions as well. So, sorry, that idea just came to me now. But please, can you give us some practical ways that we can
Sure.
introduce mindfulness?
Some of the things that we've used in a setting and in the home as well, actually, I've used them successfully with families in their homes too. And I'm sure many of the people out there have made these themselves. The beautiful emotion bottles. They call them calming bottles, emotion bottles. Really,
yeah, I have one of those as well.
Yeah, and they're really great because you can start with your children jiggling around, jumping around, and shake your bottle. And obviously, you see all your ingredients in the bottle jumping and jiggling. And it's a really good visual for the children to see the connection of how their body and mind might be moving as they jump and jiggle. And then we sit down and let's watch the bottle and we see it settling down, and we breathe and we slow our breath down, and then let's go again and we jump and jiggle. So it's just a really good visual for the children to see and have an understanding of how their minds and bodies are working. So that's one beautiful activity. I do lots of games as well. So breathing activities and games like I spoke to you about just now with the hot chocolate breathing, blowing bubbles, imagining you've got a bubble maker and you're blowing bubbles. But again, that comes from knowing the children, knowing the child, knowing what they're interested in. Seasons you can use, the tumbling leaves and blowing the leaves. So that can vary. But yoga and mindfulness go so well together. So I do a lot of physical activity as well, bringing control in their body, refining their sensory, using their hands, touching, squeezing, blowing feathers, picking up little cotton wool balls with their toes to bring their focus in. So all these activities are really great to, again, talking about the word focus again, to bring their focus back to their activity that they're doing right there and remove all the distraction around them and keep them focused on that particular activity. What other things off the top of my head? Well, obviously props and prompts. So using things, there's a lot of resources out there. In fact, I've got this beautiful Mindful Kids resource that I used a lot in the beginning until I became more confident myself and I could be more creative and imaginative. But maybe you could add that later, the name of the product after we've spoken today. And then a mindful listening, so listening games. So again, drawing that focus into their listening. So using whatever you have in your home. You might have a little bell, or I mean, I've got my beautiful singing bowl that I use, and again, it just trains the child to just focus on that one sound, and you can bring it into a game aspect as well. Like put your hand up when the sound stops. So there's lots of ways.
I feel so excited. I feel so excited already. Maybe we should. I'm thinking we might just have a mindfulness workshop with with the way you're going, and I just want to engage with everything you're saying right now. So well, let's see what the future holds.
Let's see.
Okay, so
and you feed off the children, like I said. That's obviously crucial. You're getting, you start to get to know your children. You know your children's emotions and needs, and then you can help build them and take them on that lovely journey to a place of focus, which obviously all teachers and parents want their children to develop that understanding of being able to self-regulate, to focus, because that will only benefit in the long term, whether it's with study or in the workplace. It's a life journey. It really is.
In fact, you just mentioned, you just talked about the, you just entered my next question, because I was just going to ask now, what is the importance of mindfulness in the long run? Why bother? Why bother? So you just talked now about, the ability to focus, with your studies or with anything you're doing, attention, and amazing. Because I was just going to say, so like for the future, why do we need to do mindfulness now? Like, why do we need to start now with children in their early years? How does it influence their development as they as they go into adulthood and into teenage years?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I've covered a lot of that.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. As I just mentioned, it's helping them feel confident in who they are.
Who they are.
Decisions, confident in stepping forward, embracing new and challenging situations, and feeling that they have the ability to work through those challenges.
Challenges and resilience. Yeah, I think,
So,
okay.
I mean, it's a great skill to have in the back pocket for life.
Yes, for life. So that's it's great, because it just shows me how much mindfulness is important in helping children develop life skills, the skills they need for life, skills they need to make them confident adults or confident teenagers as they go in. And it's particularly important. I was reading it somewhere where it says that when you start mindfulness with children early on, it helps them as they grow. For example, teenage years is like you've been referring to that a lot, because obviously you have a child in his teenage years. It's a very difficult time, and I remember myself growing up as a teenager. God bless my mother. I'm not sure she had the easiest of times. But then I just imagine what it would have been like if I practiced mindfulness at that age, and going in from my early years. So our viewers out there, you've got children in their early years. I think now is the time to start. If you're not doing anything with mindfulness with your children, feel free to reach out to Kay. I'll have her details online, and she is the right person to go to. I will be doing so, Miss Kay. I'll be coming to you like a whole lot. So just brace up. So brace up. And sorry?
I was just going to say, again, with the whole the early years children, it is about having fun. There's a lot of fun factor involved in the mindful activities. It's not all just like serious. Okay, breathing.
Sit down and breathe.
It really is engaging and beautiful, and to see through their eyes, the beauty on the planet and in people, because children are just shine love and kindness, and and so it's just such a great tapestry to be working alongside.
We need to have a workshop with you. We need to have a workshop, like a practical hands-on workshop with you, honestly. Right, everyone, if you agree with me, if you're watching right now and you agree, can you please just type in the comment section, agree, or workshop, or let's go, just type in something, an affirmation, or just give us your feedback of how you feel this session has gone. It's been amazing for me, and I want to believe it's been amazing for you out there as well. So please, if you're still with us, can you just type in value? Just tell us, give us your feedback on what you have gathered so far. Send in a comment of what you're taking away, what you're taking from this series, and I want to believe that you're getting great value as I am here. Okay, so as the comments begin to come in, I will be reading them. All right, so I have a few here. Oh wow, we have Karen, Miss Karen Al Nobani. She's with us in the house, and she says very informative. And Miss Kanchana is also saying, sorry, I keep saying Miss, but I'm just used to it. It's fine. Kanchana is saying yes, and she's also saying workshop. So I kind of hear resounding workshop here. And Kay, I did not do this. It's not my fault. You just gave us so much vibes and information, and we just keep wanting for more. So it's not my fault. I'm not taking.
I'm very keen to spread, my passion and the benefit for the children.
Okay. Wow. Okay, we have also workshop. Very many comments here to say workshop, and we have Karen saying fabulous. We have Iman is saying yes, of course, it will be great and beneficial. I believe she's talking about a workshop here. So the votes are in. We're gonna have a workshop someday, somehow. I'm not sure how that's gonna happen, everyone, but then we'll go back to the books and we'll plan something, and we will come right back to you. Thank you so much, Iman. Thank you, Tokwe. I want to believe you're signing up for the workshop as well. And I want to believe everyone here, there's lots of workshop. Reading from here. And so thank you for bringing in so much information to us. Thank you for bringing, the vibes, the positive vibes. It's just like, I feel like just taking some time after this and just breathe. And I just might do that. I just might do that. So for everyone who has been with us so far, I want to say a big thank you. If you're just joining us, please feel free to just give us a quick hello, tell us your name, and tell us where you're watching from. And if you're going to be watching the replay, thank you so much for watching all the while. And let's know, let's send in your comments to let's know what you're getting from this session. Let's know if you've gotten the pillars, the pillars of mindfulness, intention, focus, attention, all of that stuff. Great stuff. I never would put my mind to. But then, thank you so much, Kay, for bringing everything to the forefront. I really appreciate the fact that you have expanded on the importance of having children in that mindful state from their early childhood onwards. And I want to believe that going forward, many of us who are watching will begin to practice, these activities of the suggestions you have given to us. I will, for one, I will be doing it, and I'm going to go back to research more on mindfulness. And I'd encourage everyone to do the same, because like Kay said, there are lots of materials and resources out there that can help us on this journey. So this is about sensitizing us to get into the habit of mindfulness and to get our children into that mindfulness habits or routine as well. So thank you so much, Kay. Again, I cannot say thank you enough. I really appreciate you. And I don't know. I think. Do you have any final words you want to say to our viewers and to say to us just finally?
No, I just like to finish. Usually at the end of my practice, I usually like to finish with peace in your mind, peace in your words, peace in your hat, from my hat to your hat.
Oh my goodness! Can you do that again? I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna do it with you.
Peace in your mind,
Peace in your mind.
peace in your words,
Peace in your words.
peace in your hat, from my
And peace
hat
in your
to
heart.
your hat.
From my heart to your heart. Oh my goodness. I hope everyone out there is doing the same thing with us, is doing this. Honestly, it just seemed like a very simple activity, but then I already feel peace as well at the moment. So can I ask that we do this one more time? And if you're watching, you're still with us online, please can you do this? And if you're watching the replay, let me know your experience when you do this. Let me know how you feel when you do the peace in your mind, peace in your words,
Words.
and peace in your heart. And just let me know how you feel when you do this. So if we could all just do it together where you are, that would be great. So I'm gonna have Kay just lead us into that, and we'll say our final goodbyes. We'll say our goodbyes.
So peace in your mind, peace
Peace
in
in
your
your
word,
mind, peace in your word,
peace in my hat to your hat. Namaste. Oh, namaste.
and peace in my heart to your
To
heart.
your, yeah.
Thank you so much, Kay, for coming on and giving us great value. It has been wonderful. We will say our goodbye now. Goodbyes now to everyone. Thank you, Temi Tokwe, for joining us. Thank you, Iman. Thank you so much. We'll get back to you with regards to the workshop. Thank you, Kanchana. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Karen. Karen is, oh, we have a comment here. I'll just take it briefly. I'll take a comment from Kanchana. She says here, I believe taking care of our mental health is a life skill, just like any other life skill. These two should be nurtured since early childhood. Kanchana, you are just amazing. And I think that's basically what we've been talking about. She just actually summarized it beautifully for us. Um, she says here, taking care of our mental health is a life skill. And so, just like any other life skill, these two should be nurtured since early childhood. I'm going to put this up as a quote from Kanchana. Thank you so much, Kanchana, for saying this. And I think on that ground, we're going to end this series. Oh, we have Iman who's responding to our activity to the activity we just did now. She said, I love those words. Peace, everyone. I feel peaceful. Wow, I feel peaceful just reading your comments already, Iman. Thank you so much for sending this in. And to everyone, our peace we live with you. And it's day 2, and it's been value. It's been great all the way. Yesterday was amazing. Today is just out of this world. I can only imagine what tomorrow will be like, or I can only imagine. Tomorrow, I'll be talking about how relationships affect mental health. And I'm looking forward to having everyone here. I'm just going to be tying in everything that we've talked about for the past 2 days, yesterday and today. I'm going to be tying in mental health issues and from the scientific point of view to mindfulness and how all that can work around the relationships that children have growing up. And I believe it's going to be great. I believe it's going to be just as impactful and amazing as these 2 sessions have been. So thank you everyone for being here. And it's time to say goodbye. Till tomorrow, till we meet again tomorrow. So thank you, everyone. I will just say goodbye. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Okay.